So I saw a couple recommendations of a spider part, so I think that could work nicely here. I was thinking of having an orb on every one of these snare hits. They kind of stand out a whole lot. So probably because they're like pretty extreme, like spider orbs for each one of them. I think having like moving spike floor would be pretty cool in this part. Even though this is a layout, I would like it to look somewhat nice. So I'm gonna put at least a decent bit of decoration for each of these parts. Yeah, so I think these could fall down or raise about 5 blocks. So then you'd be limited to a little less than half the screen. Yeah, so about 50 is right about perfect. Let me uncheck this portal so I can get a good preview. So it looks like this is 1 off right here. Just so it doesn't seem so sudden, could probably make this like 2.5 seconds. And ease in, ease out is kinda extreme, so maybe like a nice sign would work here. That's pretty good, but also a little slow, so maybe like 1.8 seconds. .2. Yeah, so I think 1.2 is about the sweet spot. So can make it the bottom one raise first, and then the top one fall second. It also should lock to the player, because right now we're just kind of falling behind. So I think that does work pretty nicely. One main big thing we have to do is make sure the decoration on this one fits. And maybe we get this one to raise up one final time before it kind of like closes in on the middle of the player, like really fast. And then finally, both of these should go out of the view of the player, and then can just be permanently disabled. And obviously we don't want these showing before we reach the spot, so we can toggle these off way before in the level. Like even a whole part behind. Maybe add some funky timings like that. An orb here should sync with the vocals. Yeah, maybe half space it, so it's right in between. And just so we don't die to the spikes, probably gravity flip. Maybe something awkward where you have to click on the very edge of this block so you reach the pad perfectly, because falling off it'll just completely miss it. Yeah, and then hit that so you don't collide with this block. Should work pretty good. And then remove one of these kind of contraptions like earlier. Actually feels really nice to play. To fit this like long synth buzz, you could probably have a dash orb down that gets cancelled like right before you hit the spikes. And this is pretty rapid in the song, right in this tiny little section, so you could probably get away with some like funky timings, like half space there, and then a pad right there. And then, because the spikes are probably around here, we could have an awkward timing where you have to click this really, really late to just land perfectly on the blocks. A yellow orb is a bit too much here, so a pink one where you have to click directly in the middle probably would also fit pretty nice. This actually works really well because two really high-pitched notes with like two giant movements, like down like 5 blocks and then right into a red pad should send us flying right about here. Yeah, it's like that. And then a black orb. If we move this down, this could be really weird where you're not able to buffer, otherwise you slam into the spikes down here. But because there's like a 2-block space right here, it should be a pretty tight timing. And even more long synth notes means even more of these dash orbs. You can just barely land here if you hit these right. So that should lead into this next part nicely. I wonder if this will kill you with the spikes. I think it should give you just about enough time, yeah. Yeah, so then if you're just falling from the blue orbs, you can't reach that, so you do have to click it. And just for a little bit of fun before the next part, could have a very, very short swing section. Yeah, so you have to make sure you're in the middle before going to about the top. You can put the final portal to like signify the end of this part. Let's just not have a blue portal there, so you do have to only click, or you're forced to only click once around here, so it's purely timing. I think this gameplay is pretty good, basically done. So really all there is area move trigger to make it a little bit more confusing, but also some structuring to make it like actually a memory part. So I skipped through most of this structuring part because structuring a memory level basically is just spamming blocks until they look nice. The main things I did were kind of just these like blocks where they end off with a singular one, either one up or one down, because I thought it looked kind of cool. Apart from that, I really just need to add fake portals and fake orbs around. Yeah, so that's good enough. Then just some random orbs here and there. Honestly, I don't really care if you find a way to like squeeze into one of these gaps and like use this dash orb to find a way back on the path or something like that. You know, if there's like a harder swag route, why not just leave it in, you know? So I think that's most of the empty space filled in. There are a couple more things I want to do, like I want to add a simple area trigger, but also these like spike walls look kind of static, so I was thinking they would like shake a little before they either rise or fall. Like just kind of rapidly, no movement, just shift up 1 or 2 blocks over and over. And other than that, I don't think these should just like spawn in out of nowhere. So maybe move them up and down 5 blocks. We can toggle them on a little earlier, but then have them maybe ease out onto the screen. So ease out 21, -50, see how that looks? That, definitely not that. Maybe exponential out, set it to like very long easing. Maybe like 1. Oh yeah, something like that. That actually flows really nicely. So also set that to the bottom one too. Positive 50. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, so it's pretty maze-like with the fake blocks, fake paths, all that stuff. So the final thing really would just be an area trigger, because that's kind of like a theme throughout this whole level. One thing I've learned throughout making levels is these area triggers do not like when they're not set to touch trigger, because it like completely messes up when you exit the level. I remember having like an area scale trigger, not to the touch trigger, left the level, next time I opened it, like, I think it was negative 2 million scale somehow. Don't want something messy like that happening. That does seem a bit much when this is one of the more confusing parts. So maybe a longer length so it like activates further off the screen. And then maybe move 15 instead of a whole 20. Now that isn't really doing anything though. Maybe we move it back to 20 because the length is longer. Yeah, I think that's pretty good. It like kind of brings like a shrinking or getting like crushed feeling to the entire part. I could probably add something on the back end to make it look like there's like a crusher behind you. Maybe something like this on the spawn loop, moving like down 1 block, then it instantly teleports up another. So it kind of looks like it's flowing down constantly. So it should really just be 25, go down a singular block in about half a second or so, then up 10 instantly. Okay, select all, don't faint, don't enter, no glow. I just think it makes it look cleaner as a layout. And yeah, I think that should be good. So I'll just move on to the showcase.